This video extends a little bit on the last one really. So people have pain when they don't have a physical injury and then develop beliefs and reasons for that to explain it, and it doesn't always make sense. This video is looking at if you do have a physical injury. So there's a physical event that started the pain, and it can be any type of physical trauma. It can be major trauma, it can be minor trauma. Some people don't recover from a broken wrist or twisted ankle. Some people do. Other people have multiple injuries in a car crash and completely recover, and others don't. So it can't be the injury itself, because the person has, or you'll find some other person who has recovered from that. So then is it the person's response to that injury? Is it the person's predisposition to how they'll respond to trauma or overload? Is it their unconscious behaviours? They don't even realise. This isn't about blame, it's about understanding why some people develop persistent pain and others don't. But if there's been a physical trauma, the normal tissue healing process in all of us, is 3 months. If you scratch yourself today, if you broke a bone, if you cut yourself, if you twisted an ankle, if you pulled a muscle, if you were told that you trapped a nerve, or you had any other physical injury, look at that today and you'll see it get better in its own time. Within about 3 months, completely heal. Now, even if it leaves a scar, you've got plenty of scars that don't hurt. And as you go through that healing process, quite often the pain switches off long before the tissue healing's finished. And that happens with all of these injuries at varying times. But the pain switches off when the stress response for it switches off. So as soon as you know you're okay, you know you've got that certainty and you've got the information you need, why it happened, how to protect it, and you're in control. Those 3 elements are the stress response. So the sooner you get that about any injury, and it's easy for a paper cut, it's easy for a grazed knee, it's easy for a bust nose or a nosebleed or a scratch, things that we know how to deal with. But the more unknown things, the pains we can't quite see and work out, it's harder to get that. If you don't get the right information from the people we trust medically or the family and friends around us, if it makes it a scarier story, then the trouble starts if we have a predisposition for being worried, or we're in a time in our life that is a bit overloaded and we feel the pain. It's harder to analyse it intellectually and maybe correctly, and it creates a risk that the worrying, fearful thoughts and the interpretation of that pain is one that isn't something that's going to help it resolve. So after 3 months of normal tissue healing, if that pain persists, it's a sign that the brain and body have got involved. It's still the same pain that was there right at the start, and as the tissue's healed, that repetition of the thoughts, the feelings, behaviours, emotions that stayed, what will happen, what does this mean, what will the future be like, why did it happen, over and over and over and over again, it starts to habituate the responses to that pain. It's like changing gear in a car. It's like walking or talking. You have to learn slowly and invest in that time to start with, but the brain automates it just as you move, as you think, as you breathe, as you see a cue, bang, the behaviour plays out. And pain can be driven by the smallest cues. It's unconscious, the mechanisms behind it, and all you feel is the pain that comes from the end result of those behaviours. And that's the brain and body just staying in that protective state. So if that tissue healing period is past, if it's a year, if it's 2 and 3 and 4, and there's no sinister cause for your pain, then that shows you that it's got to be the brain and body driving that pain beyond any period of tissue healing. And that kind of pain can be reversed. It can take some practice, it takes some understanding, it takes some commitment, but it can be reversed.